You be right, but you get high.
Hey y'all, what's up? I'm Travis Hampton, and just for clarity, I'm an architect.
What's up, everybody? This is Kayla with ITV Creations, and this is another Just for Clarity episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have Travis, my really, really good friend here. So, Travis, come
Oh,
on, tell us, please tell us what you do, what you love.
thanks, Kayla. Basically, I'm Travis Hampton. I live here in Atlanta. I'm an architect. I work at a firm in Buckhead, mainly designing multifamily, residential, and hospitality type projects all across the country. I've been doing that now for about going on 15 years now. Hard to believe. I don't want to age myself, but and yeah. So that's just a gist of what I do professionally.
That's what's up. And you said 15 years. That's a long time to be in one industry.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your journey and
hmm
how you became an architect? How did that come about?
Sure, absolutely. When I was young, I was 7 years old. Um, I just remember I used to draw a lot. I used to model a
Mm,
lot with Lego blocks, that kind of thing, and I had a good interest in doing that and building houses and drawing maps and that kind of thing. Had my own little city at one point. I mean, the family used to pick on me about having to this little city I used to have. And one day I didn't really know what it was at the time, but I knew this is kind of what I wanted to do. So then when someone told me what it was, like, this is architecture, this is something um,
wow.
people who design buildings, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I kind of just took it as destiny and kind of just took off with it. I moved back to Augusta for a while. I was able to find a small firm there
Okay.
that I moved back to, and I worked there for a little while to start getting experience, learn the ropes, and everything. And then around 2010, moved back to Atlanta. I went to grad school to try and further my education in architecture and city and
Right.
regional planning as well, which is like kind of related to like the map drawing I was doing, a little bit
Okay.
more, architecture on a grander scale kind of thing.
Mhm.
What they call, urban design.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
so majored in that a little bit, and then after grad school I just been pretty much stayed here, been working, done a variety of different project types,
Okay.
done fast food, Burger Kings, renovations of Burger Kings, Wendy's, things like that, just to
Mhm.
kind of get started. I mean, it's not the best looking architecture, but it pays the bills. It's
Right.
someone's got to do it.
Right.
So
What are some misconceptions that people have about architects? Because when
mhm,
I think of an architect, of course I think of like blueprints, but I think
mhm,
of like
mhm,
skyscrapers and
mhm.
maybe like residential homes. But are there some misconceptions that people have about being an architect?
hmm Sure, absolutely. Well, depends on how far you want to go back, but I know a lot in what they. So I'm just going to speak more or less on my experiences and kind of coming through, and the people I kind of met along the way through the school and the educational background of it. Um, when we first started architecture school, you have that ideal. You do have that ideology mindset of like, oh, I'm going to design this big, great skyscraper, and
Mm,
it's going to be world famous, and my name's going to be on, that kind of thing. And
right.
by the time you get out of school, you realize quickly, like, nah, I don't think this is, whatever. It's going
Mhm.
to be more of a job. But I think it comes from a, a lot of architects aren't really famous, in
Mhm.
the sense of how we would know them, like your Frank Lloyd Wrights, or, or I don't know, someone else you may have heard of, Corbusier or something like that. He's very modernist
Mhm.
architect type of
Okay.
thing. So those are well known there. Zaha Hadid is another more contemporary one.
Right.
Um, um, that recently passed, but usually, you have big names like that. They rarely are into the daily, grind, if you will, of actually producing the documents, fixing. They're more like the visionaries, or they come up with the ideas, but that's
right.
it. So that was one misconception that had coming in was where it was going to lead and where it was going to be. And then the other thing was coming into school, you have this, you think you're going to be drawing houses and buildings right away, and also that wasn't completely true. They wanted you to think a little bit more outside the box when you first come in, to actually think about how you design versus what to design. So, and what that means to you, and try to help you develop your creative side of it. The first project I ever did, for example, in school was an egg carton. They basically had us go buy a half dozen egg carton.
Okay.
You basically had to draft by hand, because the other thing was like, why aren't we using the computer? Like, why aren't we doing? And then they, I think more so now they might be shifting to that, but back in those days, that long ago, early 21st century, they were still, wanting us to draw, I guess to learn the skills and the basics of kind of where we came from. Kind of like how math, you learn 1 + 1 kind of thing, the fundamental, the basic thing.
So you building on each skill that's learned.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And then, so going back to your question, I guess the perception of when you get into the actual workplace. So then in the workplace, you're used to the school mindset where you're having to think about how to design.
Right.
In the profession, then it becomes more of, well, how can I think that way and be productive and be profitable? Because architecture is still a business at the end of the day.
Yes, it is.
There's money involved. There's license and that kind of thing, because that's another process, becoming licensed and having to take all the tests.
Right.
That took me 5 or 6 years to get the testing done, because it was just, you're trying to work, you're trying to live, you're trying to enjoy life, and then some people I knew had families on top of that. So, it's a lot to have to try and, and then have to try and get your license just so you can, go up the ladder a little bit more. You apply to be a licensed architect just like you would if you were a nurse, massage therapist, barber. It all goes through the same licensing process. Okay. So, and before you do that, they have certain requirements that you have to obtain before you demonstrated your worthiness to be a licensed professional. So, me, it was the schooling. I had to go to undergrad and grad school to get that. The professional degree, what they consider professional, would be a grad degree. So I had to get my master's, which is why and got that the first thing. And then work experience, working in the firm for a couple of years to get the internship experience in, and then the testing was the last component of that. So then there's 7, well, at the time I did it was 7 tests. I think it's down to 6 now, but 6 tests, 3 or 4 hours each. You can space them out however you want to, but it's a lot. It's a lot. 200 something bucks a pop, in some firms now, they do offer assistance for that too. So you show your intent to want to take the test and you pass them, then they will reimburse you for it. So, so that's the good thing about that. It still depends on the company you work for, but a lot of them offer that as a benefit, or at the very least pay you the time to go take the test. You actually can't legally call yourself an architect until you
get those. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just like
gotta have that paper. Gotta have that paper first.
Right. And have a stamp. It's a legal liability. It's all about health, safety, and welfare.
Absolutely.
So you're not just designing a building to make it look pretty and nice and an area, but it actually, you have to demonstrate that you know what you're doing, and the building can stand up. The building, is functional,
like weather and
absolutely, water,
all that stuff.
Yep, all that stuff is really contentious, because if you get a building that leaks and falls and that kind of thing, then then you're liable. So legally, so
and your name is on it too. So
Right, exactly. So that's definitely why you want to dot your I's and cross your T's.
But man, like 15 years, so like you kind of like seen stuff like come and go. So how would
Oh
you
yeah.
say that architecture has progressed over the years from like the time kind of you were influenced and you started up until now?
I would say over the years I've been working, I've definitely watched it go from more like I said, I computers have been around for a while, and I think the profession, the use of computers in the field has been around for a while, even though we were
Right.
learning how to draw and draft, which
Right.
I
Right.
don't do any hand drafting. I do
Okay.
sketches. So, we
Yeah.
sketch out ideas and things like that when we're trying to communicate to our teammates
Hmm.
um, or coworkers. But um, I would say it's progressed more so in the fact, of technology going from the 2D, everything's being drawn in 2 dimensions, like just on a flat piece of paper kind of thing,
Yeah.
and we're moving into now a lot more 3 dimensional work. So
Absolutely.
some of the main programs I work with now, actually, we design the building in 3D.
Hmm.
Um, we build the building as if we're building it for real in three three dimensions in
Yeah.
real time. So the walls are the actual constructed walls that we draw in. Um, the roof is modeled like the actual roof is going
Yeah.
to look like. All the
Hmm.
beams and things you would see in there, you would model all that in,
Yeah.
and we work with. And also, I'm like a project manager too, by the way. So I don't just design the building, but I also manage the processes by which the
All the
other
hats.
people I work, all the hats. Like
All the
I,
hats.
I work with electrical engineers, mechanical
Uh,
engineers,
okay.
and basically I give them the building and say, hey, how do we power it up?
Yeah.
Electrical engineer take care of that. How
Hmm.
do we cool and heat it? The mechanical engineer take care of that, and then the
Hmm.
structural engineer, of course, does the structural to make sure it stands up, and
Right.
then we have to review their work to be sure that they know what they're doing. In a way, I
Right.
mean, they're
Hmm.
professional, they get licensed separately too, but we pretty much get enough of a knowledge base, which is also a part
Right.
of what we're tested on, is to be
Yeah.
able to interpret and read and understand their drawings, and to be
Hmm.
able to say, oh no, that quite doesn't look right. Do you mind you check that again? That
Right.
kind of thing. You
Hmm.
know. So
The
uh,
backbone.
yeah, exactly. Because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like, we're the main interface between the client and
Yep.
everything. Consultants kind of work for us in a
Hmm.
way. They work kind of
Hmm.
under us for us, but
Yeah.
I'm the one that takes their work, combines it together
And
with my work, and then presents it to the client as a
mhm.
complete package. That here you
Yeah.
go, Mr. Client, you can now build your building.
If I'm just thinking like what my elementary level of of architect, right,
Hmm.
is when I see like how the houses have progressed, like residential
Oh
homes, have
yeah.
they
Hmm.
gone from like a certain structure and style, and now we move to these like modern boxes. A lot of people are
Yeah.
into that now,
Yeah.
and that is like immediately the
Hmm.
first thing you see, like if you driving down in Buckhead or and then
Hmm. Oh yeah.
you see all these older
Yeah.
homes, and then boom, this big
Hmm.
like modern box. Like, so it's
Yeah.
crazy to see how far
Oh yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
they've gone from like cottage style and like
Oh yeah.
all these different kinds of to that style of homes, and it's crazy to see. It's so crazy. So speaking
Yeah.
of that, are there any like particular architecture styles that have influenced you, or what would you say is your style?
Well, I named a few of them. I sort of like more what you call more minimalist, modernist architects, which you
Okay.
kind of explained it a little bit when you said buildings that look like modern boxes with just little
Mm-hmm.
punch open windows. That's what we would call more of a modern, postmodern,
Okay.
contemporary kind of style.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the the modernism movement kind of came around in the mid '50s, so it was more. I'm giving you a little history lesson, but
Thank you. Come on, give it to us.
um, but basically, it was a kind of style architecture that evolved from Le Corbusier. He was one of them,
Mhm.
and to be more of a form of architecture that was more functional over the form. So it wasn't it wasn't designed necessarily to be pretty or to be, or pretty with like ornamental stuff, like like you were seeing some houses where you would have crown molding and really fancy doors, or kind of like what we have, whatever. It was, that was a style, and then it evolved to something where it was like less is more, meaning less you
like
have
that
on
clean,
clean,
straight lines.
geometries, that are recognizable and pleasant on the eye. And then the colors of it that kind of make it pop out, like the simple whites and the neutrals and that kind of thing.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I would say that's a favorite style that I have. And like I said, Atlanta has built a lot of them over the couple of years. And just fun fact, if you're ever interested in seeing any of those homes, they do offer to the public, they offer what they call modern home tours.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
I can send you the link later on to catch it. But yeah, they have every June or May or June sometime. They host these tours where you basically go around Atlanta, around Midtown, Buckhead. I mean, everywhere they have, and people open up their homes, and you can just walk up in there and see, it's staged, and look and be like, oh, I like how they did that.
Don't get me, because look, because you get in there and get the dreaming and hoping and wishing, and then you got to go back home to your little Cape Cod, to your to your traditional style
and then
home.
And then you find yourself looking some of that up and be like, ooh, it costs that much.
Yeah. My question would be like, who's cleaning these windows?
Right.
And I'm sure they probably don't have any little people, because who cleaning all these windows?
Right. That was the other thing I'm thinking too. When I see, look how pretty, how grand everything looks, I'm like, oh yeah,
that's cute, but who cleaning it?
And how's that heating bill going to be if you have to condition 2 stories of space, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's something you think about then when you really work with it, and you another perception before I got in the field versus now. Before looking in, you think it's pretty and it looks nice and everything, and then when you know a little better, and you go see these houses now, and then you kind of get like, I don't know why they did that. I don't know if I would, what I mean? Like, but you have the knowledge enough to kind of know and understand,
absolutely,
what the effort it took to kind of get there. So
tried to put it all together. So since we're talking about putting it all together, so what would you say is the steps in the design process? Like, I know you say you don't do any of the like freehand drawing and all that kind of stuff, but what are the steps to get to the final product?
You start off first with what they call a conceptual design. Basically, you or discovery. You meet with the client, and the client comes to you and say, hey, Mr. Architect, I need this type of building. It could be a hotel, multifamily, that kind of thing. So they establish where you need, okay, and then they tell you this is our site. They might just purchase some land, and they have this land somewhere, wherever it is, and then you're given basically you're given the plat of land, the site in the drawing form, and then you basically just come up with an idea, a program, a design. It is very early at that stage, so it's more or less like you're just thinking about where does this room lead here, and what room you want to put next to this, that kind of thing. It moves up to the next level, which would be schematic design, where then you'll start to make the outside look a little pretty.
Right.
Develop it depending on where it's located. If it's an urban setting, it's a suburban setting, then that kind of dictates how the design looks, that kind of thing. We start looking into the building code a little bit to see, what type of building we can build, or what we're allowed to build on the site. The zoning as well too, because depending on where you are in the city, certain cities and jurisdictions have stricter requirements than others. Roswell, Alpharetta, for example, you see how pretty it looks. You see how nice and well manicured, all that stuff. All that is zoning. They have very strict rules on zoning and define. They know what they want their stuff to look like.
Yeah.
So you have to design in accordance to that. The building code is our Bible, if you will. Like it's the basis of establishing health, safety, and welfare. So to be the basics of like making sure people can get out alive and minimal damage to property and that kind of thing. Those are all fun. No matter how good the building looks, those are the three most fundamental important things that as a professional architect you gotta be sure you have. Once all that's established, set up, client likes how it's going great, proves it, we move into what we call the design development stage, where we basically take that schematic design and then we develop it further. Then we engage our engineers or our people that we work with to say, hey, how are we heating and cooling this building? How are we porting it? How are we, all that kind of engineering, mechanical stuff that, like I said, people don't think too much about, but it's still important,
Yeah.
So we got to do that part of it. And then that goes into the construction document phase is what we call. That's the 4th phase, CD phase. Is basically taking everything that you developed up to that point and making them ready for construction. Then that goes to the city, gets permitted, and then once the permit is approved and we're not having to make any revisions or changes to anything, because that happens sometimes in that phase, thing back and the city might be like, this doesn't meet our jurisdictional requirements. Like this doesn't look, this doesn't look right, or this doesn't align to our legal understanding of. So we have to alter things. So sometimes, and then once a contractor selected, a builder, and client's good with everything and good with the pricing, because then that's another part of the exercise is making sure it
gotta have the money,
afford it, because we have a lot of projects, especially now with everything skyrocketing with inflation.
Cost of materials and stuff are going up.
Oh yeah, wood, lumber, believe it or not, almost costed more than metal at one point, because it was just the supply chain was so disrupted with everything, so it just jacked up a lot of prices for a lot of things. And particularly our projects that we're working on. So a lot of times you're stuck with that number and you have to figure out, and we'll have to help them at times to figure out, how do we get your costs down? As much as we can. So
that is not a fun conversation to have. It's like, no, I want everything I want, but golly, so
it's such rewarding to have to see, especially when it's close to being done. You're going to look at it's like an actual done building that someone's going to come in and occupy and use and do whatever, and then you kind of just sit back and say, oh, I had a part in that. How about that? So so that's the part you get to the end, you're like, yay, great, it's a great reward, to be able to see that. So you learn a lot
as you go and as you grow
along through the process. So it's wonderful.
Speaking of growing, so like how would you say that, because like you said, you've been in the in this career for 15 years, how do you continue to grow and mature as an architect?
Well, one of the good things that we have too that allows us to further develop our career and to grow in it is to what they call continuing education. So, and that's part of our licensing requirements. So we don't just get the license and stop there, but we actually have to maintain it. So they want you to get 24 hours of continuing education every 2 years, just like an hour a month or something like that. Basically, and they present on a topic, that relates to the field, to be a, so that's part of professionally, like they'll give you things like that to try and develop your career, your skill set and things like that. Learning different software programs, they change every so often.
They do. I'm sure about that, because like you said, over the course of the 15 years, like it's gone from just paper to like being able to see it like full scale. So
so so that's another part that we've grown on. And then I was gonna say that I just described earlier on the last question. You learn by actually experiencing and going through the process from start to finish. So, you start with the drawing, you start with in that, and then you evolve through seeing it actually being constructed, and then the learning from that experience to improve your craft when you start a new building. So
That's got to be like a dream to see like where it's come from and where it's going. So that's so
right,
good.
right. Yeah, thank you.
Right. So I do have something special. We're gonna play a game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Question Roulette with Kayla. Now back to you, me.
Okay. All right.
We're gonna throw some questions in here really, really quick with there's just some random kooky questions, and just be as honest as you like.
Okay.
So the first question is, how do you use your Walmart bags?
How do I use my Walmart bags?
Yes.
Trash cans, small trash cans. I use them for my lunches sometimes.
Yep.
And a lot of them just stored underneath the cabinet.
Yep. You have a whole cabinet, or you got like a little mini cabinet?
A little mini cabinet underneath the sink.
Yep. That's what I have on mine.
Yeah, yep. Yo, those bags get used, and I my best friend gets on me all the time. I was like, why don't you put like some nicer trash can liners in there? I'm like, why?
These are free.
Plastic is free. Exactly, they free. They're the same. You're just gonna put trash in them and throw them away anyway. So
they gonna get it. They gonna get used for what they for.
Exactly. Absolutely. Agreed there. Agreed.
Next question. If you could hang out with any celebrity for a day, who would it be?
Ooh. There's so many in the list, I can't name them all, but I think it's some in particular. I love Janelle Monáe. She's gorgeous, beautiful. Love everything about her. She's just so passionate about what she does and everything, and music. I mean, any musician. God, who else? I have a whole list, but I just can't name them all. But
look, as soon as we get off, you can be like, dog, I should have said.
Yeah, I know. Said some others, but yeah, those are a lot of good. Yeah, a lot. Most of mine I follow are mostly musicians and artists, that kind of thing. So, and some actresses, actors, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Oh, with that. Okay, next question. If you were a taco, what kind of taco would you be?
Ooh, okay.
A taco, Travis.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm thinking. Can it be any taco?
Any taco. Any taco.
I don't know. I guess I would.
You want me to go first? I go.
Yeah,
first. Yeah. Okay, I would either be a birria taco with like the dip. Ew, it's so good. Birria tacos are delicious. Or I would be like a Los Doritos taco.
The accent and everything. Okay.
Yeah. Los Doritos. Look, one of those two gotta be, because both of them, like it requires like a lot of flavor and like a lot of like spice and kick. So that's me all day.
I like more spicy things too. Like, I didn't know whether you want me to name a taco that would relate to my personality, or just something.
This is your taco. Okay. You the taco.
I got another taco. I would say either the buffalo chicken one, or
okay.
There's one. I don't know if you've been to the Velvet Taco in Buckhead. It's in Midtown. There's one in Midtown too. But basically, they have these specialty tacos and burritos. They have them really good. Like, it's like a meal all in one taco. It's piled on. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
They have this thing called a picnic chicken one, where it's like a rotisserie chicken. So it's savory. It's pulled chicken. It's like pulled chicken off a rotisserie. So they pull shredded chicken off of that.
Yeah.
And, put a little ranch sauce on it. I think they have little bits of like French fried potatoes kind of built in it a little bit. Okay. Like it is a whole meal in the taco, and it's great.
So you a whole meal. That's what you're saying. You the whole package. You everything you everybody need and more. That's what that means.
Absolutely.
Okay, I got
Absolutely.
you. That makes
You
sense.
got
You all in one.
it.
Since we're talking about food, the last question is
Mhm.
name a food that you can eat every single day.
Ooh, okay. Um, I was just telling a friend about this, or a coworker this today at work. There's soup place. Um, that's really good chili. Like
Mhm. I do love a good chili.
probably the best chili I've ever had anywhere.
Mhm.
I had like nobody can come close to this. It's called My Dad's Turkey Chili.
Mhm.
From this place called Super Gen. It's great. It's every day. If someone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go here for lunch," even if I went yesterday, okay, let's go.
You go again.
I'm ready to go. Yeah,
It's worth it 100%. All that
absolutely,
comes with it. I'm
absolutely.
with it.
Yes.
Mine would probably be chicken wings because I
Okay.
just baby, I
What
love me some
flavor?
chicken. Hot teriyaki.
Okay.
I was ready, baby. I ain't even got to second guess it. Hot teriyaki.
I figured.
Slap me with some blue cheese. Gotta have the one with the chunky blue cheese pieces in it,
Uh-huh.
like
I know that's
and and flats me, please.
okay. Flat.
Flats.
Oh, you like all flats?
All flats.
Just like my sister. You like Alicia. You like she likes all flats, and I'm
All
like, no,
flats. I can't eat no drum. All flats, baby. Got
I
more
gotta
meat on
have
it.
like for some reason I just don't. I don't like the flat. You got to eat the meat, and you got stick your tongue and all that through. I don't like all that. Like that's a bit much to me.
It all come off in one swoop. Like
Maybe it's a way
skill.
approach. You got to eat it or something. But I'm like drums all day, every day. I got and then lemon pepper,
Yeah,
wet
yeah,
lemon
I do with the lemon pepper sprinkles. Gotta have a lemon
with the
pepper.
ranch. Girl, now you got me hungry now. I can't
Ranch.
do
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Get thrown out.
I ain't there
It's
yet.
ooh. I'm all for it because I eat that all day every day. Wake up in the morning, I eat them
Uh,
cold. That's
yeah.
college days when you couldn't find a microwave. Eat them
Oh
cold.
yeah. Noodles and cold chicken. Yeah, that was my
Yep.
best friend too. Pizza, anything. You ain't gonna heat that up? No,
I'm gonna eat
don't
that.
need to. It's fine.
I'm
It's
gonna eat
all
that.
right.
I'm gonna be half asleep, one eye
Yeah.
open, eating this cold piece of chicken. That's me all day.
Mm-hmm.
Me and
Yep.
my ramen. I'm all
I
for
know
it.
that's right. I know that's right. Yeah.
All right, Travis. Well, it's definitely been a pleasure and an honor
Yeah.
talking with you, catching up with you, and learning more
Absolutely.
about architecture. Any socials that you want to put out with everybody so they can find you, or any projects
Um.
you're working on?
Yeah. I'm on Instagram.
Mhm.
TravGT. Um. Yeah, I think that's it. I can't remember my own username sometimes. TravGT 25, I believe.
All right, everybody. Well, this has been another episode of Just for Clarity. And just for clarity, Travis is an architect. If you didn't know, now you know.
Now
Peace.
you know. Thank you. Bye, everyone.